Manotick looks like a typical Ottawa suburb until you understand its history. The reason people pay premium prices becomes obvious once you see what's really here. In the next few minutes, I'm going to take you through one of Canada's most carefully designed neighborhoods, a place where over a century of intentional planning has created something you simply can't replicate. By the end of the video, you'll understand why Manotick isn't just a neighborhood. It's an investment in a lifestyle that's become increasingly rare. And if you're new to the channel, well, welcome. And if you're not new, well, welcome back. My name is Mark Belanger. I'm a realtor with the Metro City Property Group. We are the largest EXP team in all of Ottawa, and I help people make solid real estate investments using data, an analytical approach, and of course, an investor mindset. Check me out at markbelangerrealty.com. All the information is there. All the tools that you'll ever need is all there, including all my contact details. So let's get into the video. Let me start with a question. How many suburbs do you know that were designed by one of Canada's most celebrated landscape architects? Well, obviously not many, but that's exactly what happened in Manotick back in 1912. Frederick Todd wasn't just another developer looking to make a quick profit. He was a landscape architect who had worked on some of Canada's most prestigious projects, and he had a vision that was decades ahead of its time. Todd believed that you could create a neighborhood where nature and development lived in harmony. Instead of the grid-pattern suburbs that would dominate North America for the next 100 years, he designed Manotick with winding streets that followed the natural topography, large lots that preserve privacy, and green spaces intentionally built into the fabric of the community. And when you walk through Manotick today, you're actually walking through the physical realization of Todd's vision from over a century ago. And what makes this even more remarkable is that according to Ottawa Heritage records, Manotick is one of the oldest planned communities in Canada, predating most North American suburbs by decades. Think about that for a second. While other neighborhoods were being developed haphazardly, Manotick was being thoughtfully designed with long-term livability in mind. The architecture, the lot sizes, the green space, every element was planned from day one. And here's what's important. That intentional design is still visible today. You can still feel it when you drive through those winding streets. And what this means for you as a potential resident or potential investor is profound. You're not just buying a house in Manotick, you're buying into a neighborhood that was designed with decades of thought and planning. That foundation doesn't disappear, it compounds over time. Now let's talk about geography and location, because where Manotick sits is absolutely crucial to understanding why it commands the prices it does. Manotick is positioned just about 30 minutes or maybe 25 minutes, depending on who's driving, to the downtown core, which gives you the perfect balance. You're close enough to access everything the city has to offer, like employment, culture, dining, and entertainment, but you're far enough away that you escape the urban density and, of course, the urban noise. The moment you cross into Manotick, everything changes. The street winds instead of forming that specific grid, and the lots expand, and mature trees that have been growing for decades create a canopy overhead. You feel like you've entered into a forest community rather than in a subdivision. Geographically, Manotick borders the Rideau River and is surrounded by green space, including greenbelt pathways that connect to parks and trails throughout Ottawa. And this isn't accidental. When Frederick Todd chose this location over 100 years ago, he specifically selected it because of the natural drainage towards the river and the elevation that made the land naturally beautiful. The neighborhood has approximately 40% more tree coverage than the Ottawa average, which is a significant advantage. Studies consistently show that tree coverage improves property values by 5 to 15% compared to areas with less vegetation. But beyond the numbers, there's something intangible about living surrounded by mature trees and natural green space. It changes how you feel about where you live. The proximity to Ottawa is also strategically perfect for commuters. You have highway access to major employment hubs like the Government District, the tech corridor in the West End, and of course, the hospital district. But because of Manotick's geography and the way it's positioned, you don't experience the commute stress that people in other suburbs do. You're getting the benefits of being near the city without actually living in the intensity of it all. And that becomes increasingly valuable as more people prioritize quality of life over proximity. So who actually lives in Manotick? Understanding the demographics tells you everything about why this neighborhood has maintained its prestige for over a century. According to census data, Manotick residents have a median household income that's 30 to 40% higher than the Ottawa average. And this isn't a neighborhood of nouveau riche trying to prove something. There are established professionals, lawyers, doctors, eye doctors, and shout out to Mike, which my optometrist, business owners, executives, and entrepreneurs who have already achieved success and are now prioritizing where they want to live. The neighborhood is predominantly families with children and established professionals aged 35 to 65. Approximately 78% of homes are owner-occupied, compared to the city average of about 65%. That's a crucial statistic because it shows strong community stability and investment commitment. When people own their homes rather than renting their homes, they're invested in the neighborhood's future. If you walk through Manotick on a Saturday morning, you'll see this demographic in action. You'll see families at the farmers market, couples jogging on greenbelt trails, and children playing in parks that feel more like private reserves than your typical public spaces. The residents here are successful, but they're also very grounded. They value privacy, quality of life, and community stability. And they're not flashy, they're thoughtful. And that consistency of values is what creates the culture of the neighborhood. Here's what's important. This demographic consistency is actually what creates and maintains prestige. When you have a neighborhood where roughly 80% of residents share similar values around education, property maintenance, and community involvement, it creates a self-reinforcing cycle of quality. New residents coming in see that standard and they maintain it. The neighborhood polices itself without needing external enforcement. Everyone is invested in keeping Manotick exactly as it is. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Why is Manotick prestigious? What actually creates prestige in real estate in the first place? Prestige comes down to three specific factors: perception, scarcity, and consistency. And Manotick has all three in abundance. Let's start with the numbers. Manotick home prices have appreciated at an average of 4 to 5% annually over the past 20 years, which significantly outpaces the Ottawa average of about 3.2%. But here's the more important stat. The neighborhood has the lowest turnover rate in Ottawa at approximately 8% annually. That means people buy here and they stay here for decades. They're not flipping properties or treating Manotick as a stepping stone. They're building lives here. The scarcity factor is critical. You cannot build more of Manotick. The neighborhood is geographically contained by the Rideau River on the one side and established communities on the other side. The lot sizes are protected by heritage guidelines that prevent developers from subdividing properties into smaller units. When supply is limited and demand is consistent, value follows. This is the basic economics, but it's also what fundamentally separates Manotick from new suburbs where developers can always build more homes, more streets, and more density. Manotick's boundaries are fixed. Its character is protected, and that protection is what creates the scarcity that drives the prestige. Prestige also comes from consistency and predictability. Manotick has maintained its character for over 100 years. The schools are excellent. The streets are well maintained. The community standards are obviously very high. And when you buy in Manotick, you're not betting on a neighborhood improving or hoping that it doesn't decline. You're actually betting on it staying exactly as it is, which for established families is precisely what they want. There's comfort in that certainty. There's value in knowing that your neighborhood won't change dramatically. But prestige isn't just for the past. Manotick is also a living, breathing community with events and traditions that bring people together and reinforce why residents chose to live here in the first place. The Manotick Farmers Market is a perfect example. It runs year-round and has become a weekend destination that goes far beyond just shopping for produce. Residents come to see their neighbors, catch up on community news, and of course, to support local vendors. There's a genuine sense of community that you can feel when you're there. And in the summer, the community hosts Canada Day celebrations at Riverside Park that draw hundreds of families. And these aren't small, quiet events. They're vibrant community gatherings that remind residents why they love living here. And there are a bunch of events in Manotick on a yearly basis. And what's remarkable is that the Community Association data shows approximately 65% of the Manotick households participate in at least one neighborhood event annually. And you compare that to the city average of about 35%, and you start to understand something crucial. Manotick isn't just a place where people own houses. It's a place where people actively choose to participate in community life. It's a place where knowing your neighbors isn't unusual. It's expected. It's valued. Now, I realize I'm talking a lot about the events, but these events matter because they reinforce the intangible reasons why people chose to live in Manotick. Yes, the real estate is a good investment. Yes, the location is convenient. Yes, the schools are excellent. But beyond all of that, Manotick offers something that's become increasingly rare, a genuine sense of community and belonging. There's a calendar of things to look forward to. There's a culture of participation. There's a feeling that you're part of something larger than yourself. And that's what separates Manotick from being just another neighborhood. It's a place where the past is respected, the present is engaged, and the future is protected. All right, so I think I'm going to wrap up the video here. If you're considering a move to Ottawa, or if you're already in Ottawa and you're considering a move to Manotick, reach out to me. I'd be very happy to help. Or go to my website at Mark Belanger Realty and scroll down to the neighborhood section. Click on the Manotick section where you could actually get some stats on Manotick itself, some demographics, and so on. It's all there on my website. And while you're there, obviously, book a consultation call with me. Let's chat about where you are on your real estate journey, if you will. I'd be very, very happy to help. Schedule a call. All my contact details are below. So I hope this video was informative in some small way. I look forward to putting these community videos together. Until the next video, stay smart, stay invested. I'll see you in the next vid.